I know some of y'all were very happy that she's not doing Unrivaled, as to stick it to the people who treated her poorly.
There's a lot of investors in this league. One investor, been trying to keep quiet about, his investment in the league ever since his comments that he made about a young rookie.
When you talk about greats in this game, the Michael Jordans and the Kobe Bryants and the Steph Currys, they are putting her in that category, the Diana Taurasi's.
Breanna Stewart just dropped a bombshell about Caitlin Clark, and it's not what you think. Remember when Stewart said Clark wasn't in the GOAT conversation? Well, things have changed big time. Stewart's latest comments are sending shockwaves through the WNBA. You won't believe what she's saying about Clark now. It's a complete 180 that's got everyone talking. Want to know what changed Stewart's mind? Keep watching. Picture this. Caitlin Clark steps onto the WNBA court for the first time. The arena's buzzing with excitement. Fans are on their feet, phones out, ready to capture history. But not everyone's feeling the hype. Some WNBA veterans are giving Clark the stink eye. You can almost hear them thinking, is this college hotshot really gonna shake up our league? Clark's first few games? Let's just say they weren't highlight reel material. The critics were quick to pounce. See? We told you she couldn't hang with the pros, they said. Social media was flooded with hot takes about how Clark was all hype and no substance. But then something very interesting happened. Clark flipped a switch, and suddenly she was putting up numbers that made everyone's jaws drop.
See how Unrivaled does without Caitlin Clark? They could still succeed, but we know what it would have meant if they had secured her on one of those rosters.
College career that Caitlin had ignited a tremendous amount of attention, an incredible phenomenon that very rarely happens, and it's certainly
first part about new fans. They have no perspective. There's no context. So they just say ridiculous nonsense.
We're talking about rookie records falling right and left. Her three-point shots, they were falling from distances that made defenders look silly. I mean, we're talking from across the court. And her assists, she was threading passes through gaps that didn't even seem to exist. The crowd started getting bigger with each game. People who'd never watched a WNBA game in their lives were suddenly glued to their screens, just to see what Clark would do next. It was like watching a real-life basketball movie unfold. Those vets who doubted her at first, they started changing their tune real quick. You'd see them after games, shaking their heads in disbelief, giving Clark props for her game. Legends and veterans, Allie Quigley, Katie Smith, Sue Bird, Leilani Mitchell, Becky Hammond, and Maya Moore dazzled and impressed fans with their range on the court. Recently, Sabrina Ionescu and Kelsey Plum have been on point with their range, but Caitlin has just been out of this world. Sabrina Ionescu holds the single-season record for most three-pointers made. Yet the general consensus is Caitlin, not Sabrina, is the female Steph Curry. Now Steph Curry, Shaquille O'Neal, Jeff Teague, Luka Doncic, Kevin Garnett, Stephen A. Smith, and a host more analysts have publicly admitted the Steph Curry similarity Clark has is the best in the world on a collegiate women's level. But one big name was still keeping quiet. Breanna Stewart, the WNBA superstar, hadn't said a word about Clark's performances. It was weird, right? Everyone else was talking about Clark nonstop, but Stewart? Radio silence. People started speculating. Was she not impressed? Did she see something others didn't? Or was she just waiting to see more before weighing in? Well, folks, the wait is over. Stewart's finally broken her silence about Clark, and what she's saying is sending shockwaves through the league. You won't believe the bombshell she just dropped. It's a complete 180 from what everyone expected, and it's got the whole basketball world buzzing.
Giving Caitlin, the kind of props that she deserves for bringing all these eyeballs and, the Caitlin Clark effect that we talk about, viewership, money, all of those things.
Obviously, we see her shooting, we see her passing, we see all that stuff on the floor, but a lot of that comes from a lot of hard work. She's in the gym almost all the time working on her game.
You know how silence can be deafening? Stewart's was like that until now. She just broke it with a statement about Clark that's louder than a game-winning buzzer beater. And trust me, it's not what anyone was expecting. Remember when Stewart said Clark wasn't even in the GOAT conversation? That feels like ancient history now. Stewart's singing a whole different tune these days, and it's got everyone in the basketball world talking. In a recent interview, Stewart dropped a bombshell about Clark that had fans rewinding to hear what she said. They couldn't believe it. Get this, Stewart actually said, "Caitlin has range like no other." Coming from a two-time MVP, that's not just praise, that's like getting a gold star from the teacher who never gives them out. But Stewart didn't stop there. She went on to talk about how Clark is bringing so much attention to the WNBA and helping the league grow. That's huge! This is a complete 180 from what Stewart was saying before. So what changed? Well, it turns out seeing Clark play in person made all the difference. Stewart couldn't deny the impact anymore. It's like when you hear about a new restaurant, but you're skeptical until you actually taste the food yourself. Stewart got a front row seat to the Caitlin Clark show, and now she's a believer. Here's where it gets even more interesting. Some people might be questioning Stewart's sudden change of heart. They're wondering if she's just jumping on the Clark bandwagon now that she's a star. It's like when your friend suddenly becomes a huge fan of a band right after they hit it big. You get me? We all have those fair-weathered friends, right? You can't help but wonder, where was this energy before? The reactions from fans and media have been all over the place. Some are praising Stewart for being big enough to admit she was wrong about Clark. Others are more skeptical, thinking maybe Stewart's just trying to save face now that Clark's proven herself. It's like a real-life sports drama unfolding right before our eyes. Remember when getting 1 million views was a big deal? Clark just blew past that like it was nothing. Her games are pulling in numbers that'd make even LeBron do a double take. But hold up, there's a twist.
The rest of the team starts to feel like that as well. So they're dangerous not because of what Caitlin does, but what somebody like her.
Make the most of Caitlin Clark not playing by hinting everything and basically making people think that Caitlin Clark was going to play.
This sudden spotlight isn't sitting well with everyone in the league. Let's talk numbers for a second. Clark's first playoff game, 1.8 million viewers. That's crazy, right? But wait, it gets even crazier. Her second playoff game hit 2.5 million views. That's not just good, that's the most watched WNBA game ever on cable. Clark's not just breaking records, boom, she's shattering them. You know what's really cool is it's not just Clark's games getting all the love. The whole league is riding this wave. Other stars are getting more attention too. It's like Clark showed up, and suddenly everyone's interested in women's basketball. Sponsors are lining up, new fans are tuning in. The WNBA's never seen anything like this before. But not everyone's thrilled about all this attention on Clark. Some of the veterans in the league are feeling a bit left out. Imagine working your butt off for years, winning championships, setting records, and then this rookie comes in and bam! She gets all the spotlight. That's gotta sting, right? You with me? Moving on. There's some real tension brewing in locker rooms across the league. Some players feel like their accomplishments are being overshadowed by all the Clark hype. It's like they're thinking, hey, what about us? We've been here, putting in the work, for years. The league's in a tough spot. They want to promote their new superstar, because let's face it, Clark is bringing in the viewers and the money. But they also need to keep their veteran players happy. It's like trying to please everyone at a party when there's only one kind of cake, vanilla, and everyone likes chocolate. It's not easy. So now the WNBA's walking this tightrope, trying to balance promoting Clark with respecting the other players. And let me tell you, not everyone's happy with how they're handling it.
Like, she's third or fourth in betting odds on being MVP at the WNBA. These people are so disrespectful and so unknowledgeable and so stupid. It's funny to listen to the Fever management moan about physical fouls whenever, anytime I moan about.
Some think Clark's getting too much attention. Others say the league needs to lean into it even more. Clark's not just changing minds, she's changing the whole WNBA. The league's future? It's looking wild. Some people are talking about a new golden age for women's basketball. More fans, more money, more opportunities. It seems Clark opened a door, and now everyone's rushing through it. And not everyone's thrilled about this new direction. Some folks are worried the league might become all about individual stars instead of team play. Imagine a WNBA where it's all about one-on-one battles instead of teamwork. That's what's got some people nervous. There's talk about expanding the league, new teams, new cities. The WNBA could look totally different in a few years. It's like they're building a whole new house, and Clark's the architect. And it's not just the pros feeling the Clark effect. College women's basketball is getting a boost too. More girls are picking up basketballs, dreaming of being the next big thing. It's like Clark's success is spreading like wildfire, inspiring a whole new generation of players. The game itself is changing. Three-point shooting? It's becoming more important than ever. Clark's long-range bombs are making everyone rethink how the game should be played. It might be time to rewrite the basketball handbook, and Clark might just be the one to do it. But here's the big question. Can the WNBA keep this momentum going after the Clark hype dies down? That's what everyone's wondering. Will all these new fans stick around? Or will they lose interest once Clark's not the new kid on the block anymore?
But Clark has all the leverage in this situation, and I'm not saying she flexed it, but she was comfortable enough in her position.
The way they transcend their team even, it's like there isn't anything they think they can't do.
WNBA officials are working on long-term plans to keep the league growing. They want to ride this wave of popularity, but they also need to keep their veteran players happy. It's a tough balancing act, like trying to keep a dozen plates spinning at once. One thing's for sure, women's basketball is in for some big changes. Whether it's new stars, new teams, or a whole new style of play, the game's evolving fast. And it all started with a rookie who could shoot from anywhere on the court. Who knows what the WNBA will look like in a few years? We'll just have to wait and see. So bring it on! Hey, thanks for watching to the end. We always appreciate our sports fans. If you haven't made a comment, please do so, and please like and subscribe. Here's another video you should watch. Now let's go!